When a young Malay man decides to go vegan, and not only that, later he decided to open a vegan restaurant, what would most of you would be thinking at the back of your mind? To many of his friends and his relatives, he was going out of his mind. And even to his own mother, her first question was, "Are you changing your religion?" So what causes this drastic action that this young man took and steered his life into a path less taken? Please welcome Encik Fauzi Hussein with his story of a Malay vegan.
What actually inspired me to go to this path? What does it mean for me? What does it mean for the Malay communities? Well, for me, when I was growing up, the idea of even going vegan, that word itself doesn't exist, let alone going vegetarian. It is something that not only unfamiliar, is an alien concept. We don't really talk about it. But the Buddhists, for the Hindu, the Chinese, and the Indian, and the Sikh, I know from my path of going vegan that this is something a little bit more familiar for you guys. There are days, there are time in the month, on the 15th, on the 30th of the lunar cycle, you go vegetarian. Sometimes during certain festivals, you go into dietary restriction. You omit animal products for that purposes. But for the Malay, for the Muslim community, this doesn't happen. It's something that we don't do at all. I started to ask my mother about this when I started my journey into veganism, that what does she eat when she was growing up? Surprisingly, she grew up in Muar, Johor. And then, interestingly enough, that meat was never really been a main thing that they eat every day, not even every week. Meat are always introduced to the meal during festivities, during special occasions. So most of the time, they're eating vegetables. She said to me that when she goes to school, my grandmother, her mother will just pack her up tempeh. That's it, for lunch to go to school. And pretty much that is the source of food that they would eat. It's not, meat is not really a daily thing that people eat, even in the Malay community. So what has happened? Why did it has become this way? I started to go into veganism before 8 years ago. 8 years ago is when I started my foot down, saying that yes, I'm going to go vegan. But I started looking into it before that, about 10 years ago, 9 years ago. It all started because I was trying to figure out what way that I can do to make a difference in my life. I was about 37 at that time. I was working out a lot. I'm talking about 2 to 3 hours a day, 5 to 6 times a week at the gym. You want to get muscles, you want to see how everybody else on TV look and everything. You spend so much money on nutrition, supplements, spend money on the gym. You look good, taking pictures and Instagram, you look good, your friend thinks you look good, but at the end of the year, when I went to see my doctor, the result on paper, the numbers wasn't good. My uric acid was elevated. My cholesterol was elevated. And then my liver was not functioning properly. It was a little bit toxic, according to my doctor at that time. So then I wonder, what is going on? You exercise, you take all supplement. I even cut down eating meat. I only eat rice once a day. I don't take a lot of oil, not fried stuff, but yet, by looking at the result, it's not good. And then my doctor started telling me that, which started to make me think about what to do with my life, is he said to me, if I don't change the way how I do things with my life, I'm going to end up like my father. Well, my father died about 15 years ago with a heart attack. He, as far as I can remember, his life, it's about chronic gastritis, ulcer, gout, heart problem, hypertension. This man loved food. He had no idea how much love his food, but he suffers all through his life as far as I can remember. And then my mother as well has a history of high blood pressure, and now the rest of my sisters and my siblings, they all have the history. So at that time, my doctor told me that I have the genes, it's in my family. So if I don't change, in a few years, I'm gonna end up like my dad. But again, I thought I work out. I cut down eating fat, low calories and everything. Why is this not helping? So then, this is where I started to do a lot of research, trying to figure out what that I can do to make the change. Because one thing I don't want to do is end up like my dad. So the best way to do research about trying to make change of your life is on the internet. Internet has the vast information on your fingertips. Even though at that time, being the only vegan in the family, or even with my friends, people that I know, I was feeling quite alone. But the internet kind of helps a little bit. There's a lot of Facebook groups online that you can join. We share similar interests with these people that you connect, and then post questions. At the end, I started doing meetup groups, get-togethers, having lunches at different vegetarian restaurants. And this is where I also realized that there are so many vegetarian options out there. Right in the beginning, I didn't realize there's all these places are around it. And one of the things that happens when I started my journey with all these questions that being asked, finally, that these are the same questions that I asked myself when I decided to go into the journey of going vegan. One of the questions that dawned to me and everybody else right away is, when you go vegan, what do you eat? What will I eat? What will I feed you? This is one of the questions that always happens when I wanted to visit my friends, going to visit my family during Hari Raya, festivities, and it always seems to be one thing they ask, what are you going to eat? After going vegan, the last thing I want to think about is food, because these festivities, these events, what makes it more important is the connection about your friends, being there, meeting up, seeing your friends, seeing your brothers and sisters and your grandparents and everything. So that is what more important than really about what am I going to eat? Am I going to be happy after the party, or that seems to be like a secondary thing to me. But to me it is, but to the people who invited me, it seems to be that's all they worried about. But it's not really that important. I found out that throughout my journey is that even in every single places that I go, there's always something that I can eat. There's some chips, some potatoes, rice. There's always something that I would not be starving or not go off being hungry. So at the end of the day, it's not about the food. It's about the human connection. It's about the people that you are with that makes it more important now than it was back then when I wasn't vegan. So another question that people always ask me, and a lot of the vegan friends that I have, is where do I get my protein? So this is one of the, a lot of people have a disillusion about getting enough protein. The Dietary Association has said that each kilogram of your body weight, you only need about 0.8 grams of protein. So to make it easier, like for me, I'm 70 kilograms. So the amount of daily requirement of protein that I need is about only 58 grams one day. So that's all you need. So let's break it down, okay? For lunch, for example, I will eat rice. lentil curry or chickpea curry, and then I'll add potato or sweet potato, a little bit of tofu, a little bit of tempeh, and also a bunch of broccoli. So if you add all those up together, all of those elements, even broccoli and rice, has grams of protein in it. So when I did a calculation for that simple menu plate, nasi campur, it's up to 48 grams of protein already in one meal. So that's just lunch. What about dinner? What about breakfast? What about your snack? So you are actually never be gone through your day without having enough protein, because at this moment, at this current, what we are having right now, we have been having way too much protein for our body to digest. So that's why we started having all these diseases. Because one of the reasons is we become eating way too much protein. Our body cannot function as well because we need to process it a little bit more. So another question that people always ask me, is it difficult to be vegan? Well, this is another question that I like to talk about, is that it's hard to do everything. You know, life itself is challenging, it's difficult. If it's easy, your journey of life, the things that you do would not be that meaningful. So like for me, going vegan is just another step. It's just, going vegan is just taking one part of my daily life, something that you do every single day, just take one small items out. So it's not that difficult of a journey for me. Again, each vegans, each people gone through life, gone through changes in their life differently. But as for me, myself, going vegan is not that difficult. Going into vegan is not just about not eating the animal product, but it's a philosophy behind it. The embracing the change in your life, the philosophy of compassion towards other beings, the moral standard which you need to up high to save the planet, for example. And also what I discovered when I wanted to become vegan to the journey is that how the veganism itself, the values, it's kind of like what I have been thinking and feeling way back all along. You know what? I always love animals. So why do I eat one kind and take care of another kind? It just doesn't make sense. So veganism kind of like align my values and open up my heart and be more compassionate to not only to animals, but towards other humankinds, towards the planet, towards the, even trees and plants. So next, we talk about how being vegan itself has been helping me out with my health-wise, okay? After going vegan, I noticed that my blood work has changed. My doctor was impressed. Even though I didn't tell them that I didn't take the medication that he gave me. Only a year later, I told him that, yeah, here's all the medication that you gave me. I stopped taking it. He didn't realize that I stopped, and then he asked me how, and I said that, well, I've gone vegan. I stopped eating animal products. He was shocked, but then the one thing that he told me that, well, it may work for you, it might not work with everybody else. Yeah. So then I started to think about, what about other people who was going through what I'm going through? They probably have no information as well. How am I going to help them? I started to think about, if I would have known about this information about going plant-based, how plant itself can not only nourish you, it actually can heal you, and you can live much better than if you eat animal products, my dad could have possibly be alive right now. So then I have an idea that this is something that I can do to help others. And this is where I decided to open up a restaurant. Sala restaurant, I opened up 3 years ago in Desa Seri Hartamas. It's an all plant-based vegan restaurant. Sala means in Spanish, it means living room, but it's also an acronym, means in Spanish, Salva a los animales, which means save the animals. So what I want to do after discovering veganism, after my health had been improved, I want to share what I've known to others. I don't want what happened to my dad happen to other people. I want people to have the options, know that you don't have to depend on the doctors or medicine all the time. There's always other things that you can do to feel better, to get better, to live better. So opening up a restaurant, well, that's another challenge, okay? Again, a Malay opening up a vegetarian restaurant, the one thing, getting support. My mom in the beginning, she thought I was crazy. She wanted me to open KFC. She wanted me to give money, open KFC, make easy money. But then I told her that I'm not here to make money. I'm here I want to help others. I want to help people. I want to help people to understand that there are all these options, that you don't need to depend on 100% on medicine. You have to sometimes, but not all the time. You at least have the option to try first before going forward. And then getting finances. Well, that's another thing. Who want to support a business that they don't understand? Okay, it's veganism 9 years ago is unknown. Vegetarian is a little bit better, but going vegan is a little bit more extreme. So people that I talk to, finances, they're not really interested. They feel that the money is not coming in. It's not going to happen. So what happened after that is unexpected. My mom, being mom, she decided to help me anyway. And then my dad, bless his heart, he left me some money when he passed away. And then another thing that makes me feel great about this is the vegan and the vegetarian community itself. When I started wanting to open my restaurant, I went to a vegetarian restaurant in Klang. So the owner, the cook itself, came and talked to me, and he was impressed to see another Malay want to open a vegetarian restaurant. And right away he said that my restaurant, my kitchen is open for you anytime you want to learn how to cook vegetarian food. That doesn't. I don't understand that. I went to school with business school. Everything is about competition. You don't want to share your businesses, your ideas to another business competition. But to these vegetarian people, to the guy that I talked to, it's not about competition. It's about community. It's about growing the community, about having the vision bigger, and again, it's to help people going into veganism. We are not as a competition with each other. This is what I found out more and more about once I went vegan, once I opened up my restaurant. Why is it important to be vegan? It's for health, for the planet, and also for the animals. We talk about the health, and I want to talk about what people don't really want to talk about. It's about what's important to me now, not health, but how I feel about the animals. Billions of animals are suffering around the world daily, okay? 200 million of land animals are being killed every day. If you include fish and marine life, 3 billion of these animals are killed annually for their flesh, for their fur, for their skin, for any use. So this is something that we need to think about and talk about, and this doesn't have to be the way how we live. And another thing about vegan is about the climate change. Do you know that animal farming uses 80% of the global agricultural land? It also have include the reason why mass extinction of a lot of fauna and flora around the globe, and also have increased the pollutions because of CO2 emission and also for the burning and clearing up for agriculture. So this has been resulting a lot of climate change around the world, as you now notice. So now, seriously, 3 things that's important to you: the health, the climate, our planet, our home, and also being more compassionate. One way to do that is just to go vegan. This is a slogan for my restaurant: eat healthy, live compassionately, and love unconditionally. It's 3 mantras that I believe in and what my restaurant believe in. I think what people need to live with. The halal has its own way of trying to get the halal certification. It's not only just the food, it's about how it's being set up, how it's being done, everything else, where the product's coming in and everything going down. But when it comes to vegan, our food has no animal products. So generally, we are halal in sense of we don't have any animal products in there. But when it comes to the process of it, maybe it's not according to how they want it to be. So I find that there's not really a line between vegan and halal. There shouldn't be, okay? But again, alcohol is considered vegan. So yeah, so this is where it's a little bit off, and then people are going to start questioning that. So for me to attract the Malay customers, that's why it only started to come more and more people coming in after the documentary was out. So people are attracted to come to the restaurant because one, they already understand what vegan is all about. It's all about plant-based. There's no animal products, so they don't have to worry about any form of animal contaminations. Because when you think about it, we are more careful about animal contamination than any other halal restaurant. You know, we look at everything. Even vegetarian restaurant, they are really, the ahimsa, for example, they really follow the rules even better than even the halal certification is. So I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion alone, I think the vegan concept is even more somehow a lot cleaner in one way. So thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you make a switch.
Thank you very much to Encik Fauzi for that most informative, most inspiring sharing about veganism. From personal health at first, to treating animals equally, and finally to treating Mother Earth with more love. Encik Fauzi's path to become a vegan has definitely enriched not only his life, but the lives of many more, including that of our planet. Perhaps one of his biggest wish is for people all around to optimistically set goals for themselves, to eat better, to live healthier, and of course, to make this world a kinder place. So with that, we'd like to thank Encik Fauzi once again, and to all of you for coming today for our session. Thank you.